quit my job. I left a year ago to the day, and it's been crazy. It's been an insane ride. It has been scary. It's been creepy. It's been everything I thought it was going to be and way freaking more. Actually, I'm lying. It's not even anywhere close to what I thought it was going to be. So if you don't, please like and subscribe to this page. I'm going to talk to you guys about what it's like to quit your job and become an entrepreneur in the real estate short-term, mid-term space. Okay, cool. So first things first, entrepreneurship it looks sexy online. It looks like everybody's having this great, wonderful time. It looks like you get to go and have all this freedom and you work all the hours that you want and you do what you want to do. And in reality, yeah, you do actually get to do that. And there's things that I wish that I learned early on. And one of them is that you're going to be working all the freaking time. My last job, I was making six figures, over 200K salary a year. I felt pretty damn comfortable, but the company I worked for was actually bouncing my checks. I was working in the healthcare space, and this company was going under. And I stuck it out for quite some time because I was making so much money. And for those of you who don't know, it's like basically golden handcuffs.
Yeah, keep trying, big boy. You ain't gonna get out of them. Do it. Try.
I'm sure you've heard that before, and if you've not, it basically means that I'm handcuffed because I'm getting paid so much money, and I was really unhappy with what I was doing. I was actually really successful at it, really good at it, but at the age of 39, I decided, like, you know what, this is time to separate my job. And I wanted freedom. I was having to work in the Bay Area. I was driving multiple hours a day back and forth. Being in healthcare, and it's kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing. When you work in healthcare, you just have to sometimes get up and leave because patients are discharging or there's something going on. And for me, that just wasn't the route. I didn't want to spend my time in a car driving back and forth, stuck in traffic. It wasn't what I consider the ideal situation. But that all being said, do I think a 9 to 5 is easier than being an entrepreneur? Hell freaking yes. It is so much more. It's easier because you literally get in, you clock out, and you're over with. The day's done. You don't have to worry about anything else. I was in leadership in the management role, business development side. So I was in charge of a lot of other employees. And even at that point, you still clock out. You'll get a random call about somebody arguing, something stupid, something silly, and you have to obviously facilitate and deal with that individual or that stuff or whatever the problem is. But entrepreneurship it's different. It comes with the price. It comes with, especially if you're starting off, you will start to realize that you're working late at night. You're waking up in the morning and thinking about things you need to do. I was freaking waking up in the middle of the night from a dead sleep of thinking about ideas that I should be doing in my business or implementing. I was reading so many books, and I was scared when I left my actual 9 to 5 because I was used to, 10, 12 grand, 14 grand coming in every single month without me having to actually worry about anything. I had the 1st and the 15th I would get paid, and that's it. In entrepreneurship, you don't have those months where it's consistent. You're going to have months that you're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to have months that maybe you break even, you don't really make very much. So starting, I feel, is probably the most difficult part when you get into entrepreneurship. And I don't recommend you just leave your job. You're at a good paying job and you just decide, like, I'm just going to quit tomorrow. Like, you have to have a plan. For me, I wanted to reach a certain amount of money per month, and my goal was to make about 10K a month in passive income. Not necessarily passive, but income that I didn't necessarily have to work with. And I don't even think I actually reached that number when I left. I was probably right around like 6 or 7K. But I know that when I go all in on something, I'm like 100% diving head first. So I just happened to leave not making as much money as I wanted to, and my career at that point just took off. One of the other things that I didn't recognize or realize or understand is, like, you have to have a team. And a lot of entrepreneurs start off by themselves and they're on their own, but when you are wanting to scale, you have to have teams, especially in the Airbnb space. You got to have virtual assistants, you got to have an assistant, you got to have cleaning crews, you got to have maintenance crews, you got to have people that are going to be working after hours.
Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you
And if you are doing all that stuff by yourself, you are going to get burned the flip out really freaking fast. My back is itching. I'll probably edit this part out. Wish I had one of those like claw things right now. It's just not working. Goodness. All right, I think I got it. But teams are probably one of the most important parts of everything with your business. And again, going back to entrepreneurship, we're in this alone to start, but we have to create a team. So do not forget that. I wish I
never made the first wish.
I wish I would have really put that in perspective more. And I did, and I understood it to a point, but when you leave your W-2,
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
and you're doing things on a regular basis, you have to learn how to delegate tasks. And that was really hard for me because I'm kind of a control freak. I like to be in charge of stuff. I like to know that if it's going to get done the right way. And I think as entrepreneurs, we sometimes try to do everything all at once everywhere. And that unfortunately just doesn't work. Like, you have to learn how to delegate tasks. And I'm still learning that today, even 1 year after I quit my job. I still have the Airbnb app on my phone. I still look at it from occasion. I still have VRBO. I still get the messages that come through. I'm not watching them every day like I used to. I have a crew that does that, and you have to feel confident that they're going to be able to do that. I still get messages from my Furnish Finder accounts. I deal with those directly because sometimes there's clinicians that I talk to or agencies that I'm working with directly. But it is really important. And seriously, you guys, if you're contemplating leaving your W-2, make sure that your business has been around for 2 years. And this is where I screwed up. I'm buying real estate, right? I've been in the game of real estate. I've been here for quite some time. And I didn't realize that even if you're making 10K or 12K, 20K a month, if you're not W-2ing yourself, when you go to get a loan, the banks really don't care how much money you're making. They can care less. They want to see that you're consistent with the W-2 aspect. And that W-2 check goes so far. So if you're looking at buying real estate and you're going to continue to buy real estate with a conventional loan, and there's a bunch of other loans that we could talk about a little bit later on, but the conventional loan is typically where you get the lower interest rates. If you don't have a W-2 job, they don't really pay attention to you unless you've been as a entity or a business for 2 years and you have 2 years of work history in that space with a W-2 that goes along with it. And there's DSCR loans and things you can get, but for me, that was really where I effed up. I just kind of left on a whim. I was just unhappy and I left, and I just woke up one day and was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Hey, listen, I quit.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. My checks are bouncing. The company didn't give a crap about our checks bouncing. Yeah, I was making a bunch of money, but whatever. But for me, I actually was buying a property within the next month, and it made it really difficult. I had to get a DSCR loan, which is kind of, your interest rates are a little bit higher, and I was used to dealing with conventional real estate. So I wish I would have done one of two things. I wish that I would have started W-2ing myself, even though I wasn't making the amount of money that I wanted to. Started W-2ing myself back in 2020 when I actually started my company, actually a legitimate company, and I wasn't just doing it as a sole proprietor anymore. I wish I would have put the time into that and had somebody teach me and tell me how to do that. I just didn't have that happen. So unfortunately for me, that was a big learning mistake. So I hope that you guys don't make that mistake if you're looking at leaving your W-2 job. And credit history, another super important thing. We want to make sure that we're putting stuff under our business name. So if you start a business today, get a credit card through Capital One or somebody that gives business loans or business credits to somebody. Start off building that credit, because after 2 years, you're going to be able to really have something solid that you can build off of and not have it necessarily under your name. And they still run your credit information on some stuff, but I know that it takes a little bit of time to do that. And recently I bought a Tesla, and that Tesla is under my company name, under my company's information, and I have a couple company credit cards that I leverage with a lot of stuff. I mean, we buy consumables, like hair shampoo, toilet paper, all the stuff that you're going to use in an Airbnb or a midterm rental. We buy that with a company credit card, and then we just pay it off right away or at the end of the month. So that helps build your credit up. So that's one thing that I wish I would have really kind of thought about. But also, like I said, the W-2 thing is such an important piece, especially if you're going to continue buying real estate. Another thing that's really important is planning for slow months. You know, when you start kind of taking off with the Airbnb space or midterm rentals, you'll start making substantial income relatively pretty quick. But you have to put money aside for, you know, slow months, slow seasons if they happen. You have to be prepared for those kinds of things. You know, if you're bringing income in and then spending it or using it for your daily activities or daily life, and you need those funds for whatever reason, you can't count on that to be there. So for me, the first few years of my business, I didn't even touch any of the income that was coming in. I just let it sit there, and I used it to purchase more properties. Now I kind of skim off the top of my properties, and I take the management that I manage properties. For those who don't know, I short-term rental property manage properties all over the place. And that income we bring in, but we also spend a lot of money in that business as well. So always keep, I would say, 3 to 6 months worth of reserves just in case something happens, especially if you're owning property, because you will have an AC unit that goes out randomly. Like here in the valley, it's 120 degrees. And guests come in here from San Francisco or from other places that it's a lot cooler, and they're running the AC all the time. So you gotta always have these bills that are potentially gonna happen, and think about those things. One of the most important situations, or it's not even a situation, one of the most important things that I can stress is that you surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you in the entrepreneurial space. They're going to tell you that you're doing good, or that they're going to give you criticism in a way that is constructive, and they're really empowering you to continue to do what you're doing, especially if you leave a job that is a high-paying job, or a job that you've kind of always wanted, and that people know that you wanted that job, and then all of a sudden you're leaving it. I can tell you right now that my family was like, dude, you're a freaking idiot. Like, why the hell would you leave that job? Like, you're crazy, man. You don't work that much, and, you know, yeah, you got to drive to the Bay Area a couple times a week, but why would you ever do that? I remember my mom calling me directly, and she's just like crying on the phone, like, why would you do that?
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying.
You had a really good job, you were getting paid so well, and at the end of the day, it's like, you're the one that actually has to deal with that. I'm not faulting my mom. My mom's old school. She lives in, you know, 1954, obviously, where you just stay at one job. That's what my dad did, and got a biology degree and went to college and stuck with Foster Farms and worked there for freaking ever in a biological lab. And that's what people did. I mean, my dad didn't have that entrepreneurial spirit in him, and I feel it's really important that you have partners or friends. You surround yourself with people that are in the same space that you're wanting to go into. You join Clubhouse, or you go on Facebook groups, or you join meetups, and you really position yourself to be around people that are either doing what you want to do, or are in the game with you, or are encouraging you in a way, because it can be really difficult, especially when you put out, you know, Instagram videos or TikTok videos or YouTube's just like this. People bash me all the time saying, you're dumb, that stuff's fake, you're a fraud, you just are trying to sell your class, yada, yada, yada. You're always going to get that bad vibe, that negativity coming towards you, and you have to really make sure that you have a solid foundation of people that are going to stick with you through the thick of things, through the thin of things, through the ups and downs, because entrepreneurship is not a solid sprint. It's a long haul. It's a race. It's an endurance type thing. So you have to really start thinking about it in those terms, because it takes a freaking long time to really get going. Luckily for me, in this last year, I've grown so much, and I'm incredibly grateful. And I think what really helped me was having this YouTube channel here, being able to educate everybody listening to this about how I've got into the midterm space and how I work with Airbnb. And there's not really a whole lot of people that get into the midterm space like I am, especially from the business to business development side, where we're getting contracts. I happen to work in the field of healthcare to get into this space, so I saw it from the, you know, the back end, or the back door, if you want to call it that. But it's something that's unique to my perspective. Each one of you here listening and watching this video right now has your own unique perspective on whatever it is you're doing. So again, don't let people deter you on your thoughts, your ambitions, whatever you have going forward, whatever career path you're on. But just really think about that. It's lonely being an entrepreneur. You're a lot of the times by yourself, and even though you have a crew, you still feel like you're alone.
Well done.
Because you are the person that's in charge of your business, and not everything goes as planned. In fact, it's not going to go as planned at all. Everything that you thought you were going to be able to do, you can do, but things are there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be freaking crazy stuff that happens. There's going to be situations where you're just like, why am I doing this right now? And I think you have to make sure that you adapt to what's happening. You have to adapt to what the potential is. You have to adapt to the flows. You have to adapt with the market. We're seeing right now with the short-term rental space or mid-term rental space, things are changing. Right now we're in a volatile, market with real estate. So things aren't always going to be what they were in the past, and things that necessarily worked in the past aren't going to work for the future. So you really have to think about how you're going to evolve, how you're going to change, and you have to think in a 1 year or 3 year plan on how you're going to start pivoting your business at some point. And another thing is get coaches, you guys. Like, I have a business coach that I'm working with now. I never would have thought about that before. I'm buying deals with other people. I never would have thought about doing that before. And I think that you have to really connect with people that are going to help you grow your business, where you're going to be able to avoid some of the mistakes that they made. And coaches are really passionate about what they do if you find the right coaches, and they're going to teach you like everything that you need to know to get around and skirt those potential issues or hazards, or they could cost you literally thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think it's really important to invest in yourself, and investing in yourself is reading books and listening to podcasts and connecting with coaches, watching YouTube video like we're doing right now, watching the professionals that have been in this space that are growing, finding small mom and pop operators that are doing things on a scale that you want to eventually do. So that's really important to me, in a nutshell, if I was to say. But looking back on things now, I'm so freaking glad that I left my job, and I'm glad that I was scared and I was nervous and that I made that move, because I know now that I can achieve like literally anything I want to do. And I think you guys all can do the same thing. You have to just start to literally believe it. And I think it takes a long time of little tiny mistakes that turn into positives, that you kind of nurture yourself in a way, you coddle yourself, that you can eventually do what you need to do and continue to persevere in this space. Because like I said, entrepreneurship is lonely. And you have to fail in order to continue to move forward. So I don't regret leaving my job. Sometimes I do think like, shit, why did I leave? Like, I had such a good gig, making a couple $100,000 a year, working a few days a week. And, I kind of still owned my own time, but now it's different in the sense that if I want to take a week off, like I can, but I can almost guarantee you when I come back from that week that I'm going to be busting my ass, not ass. Did I just say ass? Busting my ass way more than I did initially from the beginning for my other job. And I think going back again, what I was mentioning before is the start off, the beginning, the kickoff of any, job, or you're starting your own career path, or you're doing the entrepreneurship side of things, you're going to spend a lot of time figuring things out. And it's really good. Like, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I made the move. It's been 1 year to the day, and I can't say that I regret it in any sense at all.
That's my credo. No regrets.
I feel that everything happens for a reason, in a sense. Obviously, we need to make choices, and that choice for me, which I'll talk about another day, because I didn't leave my job in the way that everybody kind of thinks I ended my job, and I'll dive into that later on.
Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do what you all think I'm gonna do, which is just flip out!
I think circumstances and opportunities just kind of fell, and the universe aligned, and they put me in this perfect path to be exactly where I am, and it kind of fell into place by this weird accidental freaking way. And the universe is mysterious. God is mysterious in these ways. So I'm glad I left. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm sitting in front of you guys, talking to you guys about my journey in this space. And I hope that you take the words that I've mentioned today and freaking do something with your lives, or do something with your business. We're capable of so much more than we can ever believe. And I think that we just have to first off start here knowing and feeling that we can accomplish things. So I'm glad you're here. If this resonates with you, if you're getting ready to leave your job and you're in the real estate space, leave a comment below. Airbnb midterm rentals helped me get here now, and I'm thankfully, God willing, a year later, I'm making $100,000. I'm making as much as I was making before I left my job, and I feel extremely lucky and blessed, and I have tremendous gratitude. and I aligned my vision to what it is today. And I'm here to tell you guys that you can do the same freaking thing. It just takes some time, it takes principle, it takes discipline, but you can do it. If this video resonates with you, please like and share it. I would greatly appreciate that. That's you giving back to me, showing that you obviously care about what I'm talking about and that you're willing to share this information with other people. But I'm super thankful and grateful for all you, and I will talk to you in the next episode.